We're really excited to be back this year. We're excited to be back at Winter Street Studio, which like I said, we've been to before. We would have been at Winter Street Studio for the last 4 or 5 years, except for COVID, and except for the fact that they had a fire, and
Oh,
a lot of the studio burned down. And it's taken them about 2 years to get everything back together. And actually, as it turns out, it's even a better venue for us now with the improvements that they made after doing all the repairs for the fire. So we're really excited to be back in Winter Street Studio. It's a great venue. I think we'll get lots of traffic in there, and I know our dealers are really looking forward to it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Rare Book Cafe, our coffee break edition. Joining me today is my frequent co-host, Richard Mori of Mori Rare Books. Hi, Richard. How are you doing?
well, hi, Lee. It's good to see you again. We haven't seen each other since the last time we did a recording.
I
You know,
know.
I do want to say, before I do my introduction, I do have to say, Lee, we're going to have to get Alan to get us a clothing and fashion budget. I mean, we're recording 3 sessions today. We're
I
in our
know we're in
same
the same
clothes,
clothes.
same clothes.
I
And,
know.
I do think we deserve that, don't you?
I think we do too. I think
Yes.
we do too.
Well, and I want to say welcome to you too. It's good to see you. I will say we know who you are, Linn from Calhoun, Georgia, and you are the proprietor, owner, and probably the single line janitor, bookseller, and
Right.
packer
Yeah. Yeah.
at
All of
the
that.
Ridge Books.
All of that. I handle the shipping department. I handle bookkeeping, the whole,
Yeah,
kind of like you
I'm.
do.
Yeah. So,
And
and we have some wonderful guests with us today.
we do. We have Bryan Young from Houston, who is going to be telling us about the Houston Fair that's coming up. And continuing to join us today is Mike Utt of the Book Collector in Dallas, who
Fort
has
Worth.
whom we've already talked to about the Dallas Fair that's coming up. Bryan, we're glad to see you again. The last time we saw you, we were talking about what you're bringing to the Florida show, which is coming up March 1st and 2nd. But today we want to hear a little bit about what's going on in your neck of the woods.
Well, Lee and Richard, good to see you guys. Mike, always good to
You
see
too.
you. The Houston Book Show is actually taking place the weekend before the Florida Antiquarian Book Fair. So it's going to be a very busy couple of weeks for those of us that are doing both fairs. But the Houston Book Show is going to be February 22nd and 23rd. It's at a place called Winter Street Studios, which is an art studio near downtown Houston. For those that are familiar with Houston, it's kind of in between the Heights and downtown. It's an artist studio, like I said, but it's a place where artists show their wares. They can work. They all have rooms where they can work, and we actually have the fair kind of interspersed amongst the hallways and the meeting rooms and stuff like that, where people can actually, as they walk through the fair, not only are they going to see the books and everything, but they're also going to be exposed to some of the artwork there. It's a really pretty place. We've had it there before with a lot of success, and we're looking forward to having it there again.
Well,
That
it
sounds like
sounds like,
a great
oh
setup.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
about how many exhibitors are you anticipating?
So we're looking at probably around 20 dealers, exhibitors. We have dealers that have multiple tables, multiple booths. Half Price Books is one of our sponsors, and they generally come with a lot of stuff to exhibit. We have a number of dealers like myself and Mike will have a booth at the show, and we have a number of others that have 3 and 4 table booths, and we have a few that are single table exhibitors that come along. But generally, it's around 20. It's a smaller book show, but for the space that we're in and for the number of dealers that we have, we're going to have plenty of books in just about every genre that you can name, and at a beautiful facility as well.
And you should be
So
attracting art collectors as well, who may discover, this is exactly what I need, books and art at the same place.
So the
how many
studio
years
does do some advertising, kind of in-house advertising. So we do get some crossover from the art world as well, which is nice.
Yeah, that is.
How many years have you been doing this, Bryan?
So the Houston Book Show's been going on for a long time, actually, Richard. It's been going on for, Mike probably knows better than I do, but probably at least 20, 30 years. We lost a few years to COVID. We lost last year because our venue, we were going to be in the new Houston Printing Museum. They have a new facility, and unfortunately, they just couldn't get their facility ready for us in time, and we had to cancel last year. So we're really excited to be back this year. We're excited to be back at Winter Street Studio, which like I said, we've been to before. We would have been at Winter Street Studio for the last 4 or 5 years, except for COVID and except for the fact that they had a fire. And a lot of the studio burned down, and it's taken them about 2 years to get everything back together. And actually, as it turns out, it's even a better venue for us now with the improvements that they made after doing all the repairs for the fire. So we're really excited to be back in Winter Street Studio. It's a great venue. I think we'll get lots of traffic in there, and I know our dealers are really looking forward to it.
And all of those neat books that you showed us that you're bringing to Florida, are you going to sell them in Houston? And
well, not all of them, Lee.
You better save some for us. You better save some for Florida.
We'll try to save some for Florida. We'll do the best we can.
Yeah. And
maybe somebody come in and buy the whole booth in Houston. Then what?
Well, I know. And
I'll just have to come to Florida and buy books.
No.
I actually I witnessed that once years ago.
Somebody come in and buy somebody's whole booth
in LA. Yep. I did a show out in LA back in the 90s. And this guy's packing up in the middle of the show, and I went because I was confused. He was across the aisle from me, and I said, "You're packing up?" He says, "Yeah, I sold everything."
Oh.
Well, that's never happened to me.
Well, I don't think
Mike, can that ever happen to you?
Well, it never happened to me, but it almost happened to a vendor when I was at the Florida Fair that was across from me, who had inherited a bunch of books from his parents and did the show, came in, set up, and somebody came in and made him an offer for everything, and he took it.
Yeah. Well, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah,
what are the dates of the Houston show?
It's February 22nd and 23rd, which is the weekend before the Florida Fair. Mm-hmm. So we'll get done Monday with Houston, and my wife and I'll pack up the car and head to Florida on Wednesday.
Okay. And people who want more information, where can they find it?
So they can contact myself, Grayshelf Books at gmail.com, or they can contact our show manager, whose name is Julie Adkins, and her email address, very simple, houstonbookshow at gmail.com.
Okay.
Or either one of us, and we can get you all the information you should need for a dealer or for a patron, whatever info you need, we can provide for you.
Okay.
So I don't know if I should mention this, but Lee, Texas is the home of Round Top, the antique show.
Right.
It is.
And now, do you guys? I mean, are you in competition with that, or are you using some of that to parlay into your business plan?
We're not in direct competition with Round Top because that's at a different time of year, from what I understand. As a matter of fact, we have a couple of dealers that exhibit at Round Top that will be at the Houston Book Show. We're familiar with Round Top, and we have some dealers that do very well with books out there, even though it's primarily an antique kind of deal. But we have some book dealers that do well out there.
I do a lot of antique shows, so I'm very familiar. I haven't done Round Top yet, but it's kind of on my bucket list.
What time of year is that, Mike? Do you remember?
April is. I think it's March, April. March, April, I think is when it. Kind of. I think crosses it over in between those two.
Yeah, we have
It's actually more than one show. It's a series of different events.
Yeah, I know they're out there for like a month or something like that.
You know,
So,
one of our members or booksellers, Bill Allison, does that one often.
Yeah.
And,
well, hopefully you can get some of those buyers to come to your show, because I understand there are good buyers at that show in Round Top.
Absolutely, and we're trying to get the word out for the Houston show however we can. So this is a great opportunity for us right here to let people know about our show. We're also on Facebook, Instagram. Like I mentioned, Half Price Books is a sponsor of the show, and they do a lot of advertising for us. As you guys may or may not know, they have, I think, around 20 stores in Texas, 6 or 7, or maybe 8 in the Houston area. So they're going to be putting up advertisements in all their stores, bookmarks in their sales for about 2 or 3 weeks prior to the show. So we're getting the word out, and the show has grown every show for the last 2 or 3 shows. So we're excited.
You're very fortunate to have them a partner. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they have to be the single largest business in the book selling world today.
They're not the biggest. They're got to be one of the top 2 or 3.
In terms of the used and rare books, especially, there's, I think, did I hear they have 120 locations across the country now?
That sounds about right.
That would pretty much make them an elephant, I think.
Yeah.
They participated in the Georgia book fairs prior to COVID, and I was amazed at the variety.
They bring a lot of, stuff in just about every genre. I mean, there's stuff at their booth that is that you've never seen before.
The folks that were there running the booth knew their material.
Yeah. They bring good people with them.
Yeah.
I'm sure Mike talked to you about the Dallas show. They're going to be they're our sponsor for the Dallas show, or one of our sponsors, and they set up a really nice booth at these shows with a lot of stuff. I like to shop at their booths wherever I see their booth. So we're excited to have them. They're obviously a big advertisement outlet for us. So and they've been nothing but super easy to work with. I think Mike will attest to that. His relationship with them for the Dallas Fair has been really good, and we're excited to have them.
Well, I do know this. We don't have them in the Northeast as of yet that I know of. But whenever I'm down in the southern tier, I shop their stores wherever I can find them.
Oh, yeah. That's going to Half Price bookstores is a big part of my bookstore. So don't tell them. It's funny that you should say that, because the CEO of the company, her name is Boots. Mike's very familiar with Boots, and Boots and I have talked many times about booksellers going into Half Price bookstores and picking up things to resell. They're very aware that that's going on. As a matter of fact, every time she sees me, she says, "All right, well, tell me how many things did we miss this week?" So they're aware that that us book dealers are going in there and trying to find material. But if you think about it, we do that with all booksellers. We're all going to go to Florida and look at everybody else's booth and try to buy books that our clients are going to want, right? So
listen.
I know we're going to stop everywhere on the way to see what.
That's right.
Yeah.
I know for a fact there are some dealers that I take great joy when I find something, because it's so infrequent that I can find something to buy. And I don't know if you know the name Joanne Reisler. Yeah. Joanne is a children's dealer. She's still around. Her daughter, I think, is now doing the business some. And Joanne and Helen Younger, they were both the high-end, top-end children's dealers and at the ABAA shows. And at a Washington, D.C. show one time, I bought a Tasha Tudor book from her, and I could tell she was stunned that I was buying it, because I could never afford to buy in her booth. But she knew I knew Tasha Tudor, and I knew her books. and she had underpriced one of Tasha's books, and I bought it. It was,
There you go.
yeah,
It's a good
so,
lesson for us book dealers. You got to look in
yeah,
all the booths. You never know what you're going to find.
that's
True.
right.
That's true.
Well, one of the things about the Houston Book Fair, as Bryan said, it's been going on now for probably 20 some odd years. It was originally a fair that a vendor was doing, and then when they couldn't do it anymore, they reached out to the Texas Booksellers Association to take it over, and we took it over at that point. So it's been a strong show since we've had it, and in our partnership with Half Price can bring in just from them alone 500 individual buyers. So for a small fair, that's a good number of people,
Very
which
good.
means
Oh yeah,
the fewer the dealers, the better chance they're going to have of. So
making sales.
20,
Yep.
25 dealers is a nice little fair.
Well, we
So
wish you both the best of success for both the Houston and the Dallas fairs, and look forward to hearing more about them as the time approaches. Thank you both, Mike and Bryan, for being with us today. And we want you all to remember our colleagues in the LA area who have been impacted so much by the fires. As you are probably aware by now, the ABAA show in LA has been canceled. And if you get a chance to contribute to the ABAA Benevolent Fund to provide help to members and non-members who have been impacted by various things, fires, hurricanes, illnesses, it's a wonderful service that they provide. So anyway, thanks for being with us, everyone. We'll look forward to continuing to promote not only the Florida Fair on March the 1st and 2nd, but also sister fairs throughout the country. And join us again as soon as you can. We're glad to have you with us today.
It's
Bye-bye,
good to
everybody.
see you, Lee. We'll see you next time.
Yes, and I'm glad your arm is getting better.
Well, it's doing what it does.
Yeah, it's doing what it does. Yes. Okay. So join us again, and thank you for being with us today. Bye-bye, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.
all right.